Hey guys, Brad from Drathrorol Games here, and welcome to a new show called Errata-Garasu. Errata-Garasu is a show where I take 5 cards that are currently on the TCG ban list, and I errata them so that they can come back into the TCG. This series was actually inspired by a really old Kisame video, so link to that will be in the description. But with that, let's get on with the show. Today we will be looking at what I believe to be the 5 most infamous and unhealthy cards from this game's history. So without any further ado, let's get on into it. Our first card this week is Butterfly Dagger Elma. Butterfly Dagger Elma is an equip spell that reads as follows. The equipped monster gains 300 attack. When this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard while equipped, you can return this card to the hand. Now the reason why this card is banned is because it was used in combination with Gearfried the Iron Knight and Royal Magical Library to give you an infinite number of draws. So, how do we remedy this? Basically, you just give it a hard once per turn. Our next card is Last Turn, a normal trap card that reads as follows. This card can only be activated during your opponent's turn when your life points are 1,000 or less. Select one monster on your side of the field and send all other cards on the field and in their respective owners' hands to their respective graveyards. After that, your opponent selects and special summons one monster from their deck in face-up attack position and attacks your selected monster. Any battle damage from this battle is treated as 0. The player whose monster remains alone on the field at the end phase of this turn wins the duel. Any other case results in a draw. So the reason why this card is absurdly busted is you used this in combination with a monster that didn't let your opponent special summon monsters. And since your opponent couldn't special summon monsters, you automatically won the duel. So what kind of errata could we give this in order to make it a bit more fair? Well, here's the errata that I gave it. This card can only be activated during your opponent's turn when your life points are 1,000 or less. Target one monster you control, negate its effects, and send all other cards on the field and in each player's hands to the graveyard. After that, your opponent special summons one monster from their deck in face-up attack position, but its effects are negated. That monster must attack a monster you control this turn. Any battle damage from this battle is treated as 0. The player whose monster remains alone on the field at the end phase of this turn wins the duel. Any other case results in a draw. You cannot activate any cards or effects during the turn you activate this card. So essentially, you activate this card, there are no shenanigans. It's just your monster and your opponent's monster duking it out. Whichever one is left standing wins. No effects, no other cards can interfere with this. Just a battle to end it. That's it. That is how the card was intended to work, and that is how it would work. Now we move on to the first monster of today's episode. Firewall Dragon. Firewall Dragon is a Link 4 Light Cyberse type monster with 2,500 attack with the following effect. It requires 2+ monsters for its Link materials. Once while face up on the field, quick effect, you can target monsters on the field and or graveyard up to the number of monsters co-linked to this card. Return them to the hand. If a monster this card points to is destroyed by battle or sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one monster from your hand. This card was used for so many FTKs, and it's a newer card. It was recently put on the ban list. The wounds are still fresh, but that doesn't change how unfair this card was. And the errata for this is simple. They only had to do one thing to fix it, and that would be the following. Once while this card is face up on the field, quick effect, you can target monsters on the field or in the graveyard up to the number of monsters co-linked to this card. Return them to the hand. If a monster this card points to is destroyed by battle or sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one monster from your hand. You can only use this effect of Firewall Dragon once per turn. So basically, if you make it a hard once per turn, it's not degenerate anymore. You're good. Alright? It's easy. It's simple. Why wasn't this on the card from the beginning? I don't know, but Konami's crazy. But it's an easy fix. Our next card is Victory Dragon. Victory Dragon is a level 8 Dark Dragon type monster with 2,400 attack points and 3,000 defense points, and it has the following effect. This card cannot be special summoned. To tribute summon this card, you must tribute 3 Dragon type monsters. If this card attacks your opponent directly and reduces their life points to 0, you win the match. Now, the reason why this card is banned is because it promotes a very unhealthy playstyle where, you scoop when your opponent summons it, and it was just a very unhealthy interaction, which is why when they made other match winners like this, they would give those monsters a line of text that said, this card cannot be used in a duel. So, how do we errata this so that it can get unbanned? It's simple. You reprint this with the same line of text that you give other match winners. This card cannot be used in a duel. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's as easy as that. And for our final card today, we will be looking at the card that created the ban list in the first place, as well as giving our show the name that it has. Yata-Garasu. Yata-Garasu is a level 2 Wind Fiend Spirit monster with 200 attack points and 100 defense points with the following effect. This card cannot be special summoned. This card returns to its owner's hand during the end phase of the turn it is normal summoned or flipped face up. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, they skip their next draw phase. Now, the reason why this card got banned and created the ban list in the first place was because it was used in combination with unerrated forms of both Chaos Emperor, Dragon, Envoy of the End, and Sangan / Witch of the Black Forest. And what happened was you would use this card to make sure that your opponent could not do anything. You just poked your opponent directly over and over and over again for the entirety of the duel until their life points hit 0, and they couldn't do anything about it. This card is the epitome of all banned cards. So what errata are we giving it? This card cannot be special summoned. This card returns to its owner's hand during the end phase of the turn it is normal summoned or flipped face up. When this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, they skip their next draw phase. You can only use this effect of Yata-Garasu once per duel. You make it a hard once per duel effect, and while it may be a little unfair, it's not completely degenerate. Your opponent can still play, and the cards that this was used in combination with to make sure that your opponent couldn't play at all, they've been errated, so if you take that into account, and your opponent can, there's a lot more searching in today's game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So, honestly, if you made this a once per duel effect, it wouldn't really be all that broken. So those were the 5 most infamous and unhealthy cards from this game's history, at least in my opinion, and how I would errata them. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, how you would errata them, and what cards you want to see me errata in the future. But with that, I'm Brad from Drathrorol Games, and this has been Errata-Garasu. Tune in next week when we discover what it is that Pot of Greed actually does. So like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!